DCI Palestine, released the testimony of 17-year-old Mohammed Rabia from Abu Dis, occupied West Bank. His ordeal is not just the story of one boy. It is a story of countless Palestinian children who, for decades, have been subjected to systemic abuse by the Israeli military apparatus, in violation of domestic Israeli law, international conventions, and the most basic principles of human dignity. A child turned into a human shield. On April 19, 2013, Mohammed's life was upended. Soldiers, armed with live ammunition and rubber-coated bullets, grabbed him off the street, handcuffed him, and paraded him in front of demonstrators. At gunpoint, he was forced to walk with his hands raised while soldiers opened fire around him. In that moment, Mohammed was not seen as a child. He was a prop in a spectacle of dominance, a pawn used to shield armed men from the stones and voices of protesters. International law is unequivocal. The use of civilians as human shields is a war crime. Even Israel's own High Court of Justice banned the practice in 2005. Yet, Mohammed's case, captured on video and witnessed by dozens, demonstrates how such rulings remain little more than paper promises when impunity reigns. Torture in broad daylight. What followed was a descent into cruelty. Blindfolded and bound, Mohammed endured beatings, verbal abuse, and humiliation. Soldiers kicked him relentlessly, struck him with rifle butts, and sprayed his keffiyeh with pepper spray before tying it over his eyes. He was confined in sewage facilities, left in suffocating silence, and subjected to interrogation without legal counsel. His confession, written in Hebrew, a language he did not understand, was coerced after hours of exhaustion and pain. His medication, vital for a breathing condition, was thrown away by soldiers. For 21 days, he was detained in Ofer prison, his childhood replaced by fear, violence, and trauma. The pattern of abuse. Mohammed's experience is not an anomaly. DCI Palestine has documented at least 21 cases of Palestinian children used as human shields since 2004. In Gaza, during the 2008 to 2009 assault, 9-year-old Majid Rabah was forced by Israeli soldiers to walk ahead of them. Only 2 soldiers in that singular case were ever convicted, and even then received light sentences. The pattern is chilling. 75% of Palestinian children detained by Israeli forces report systematic ill treatment, most within the first 48 hours of arrest. Children as young as 9 are not spared. These are not isolated bad apples, but a structure of domination where abuse of the youngest and most vulnerable becomes routine. Law versus reality. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, the Fourth Geneva Convention, and the UN Convention Against Torture all explicitly prohibit the acts inflicted on Mohammed. Yet year after year, reports pile up, and accountability remains absent. Israel justifies its actions under the guise of security. But how does security explain beating a blindfolded boy, tearing his clothes, unleashing dogs on him, burning his scarf, or denying him water? How does security explain parading a child as a shield while soldiers flash victory signs to the camera? The echo in Gaza. Today, more than a decade later, Mohammed's story resonates even louder. In Gaza, thousands of children have been killed, mutilated, or traumatized. Many have died in their sleep, under rubble, or while seeking shelter. Others survive but carry invisible wounds, nightmares, anxiety, and an unshakable fear that they too may be taken or killed at any moment. When we look back at Mohammed's testimony from 2013, we see the warning signs. Silence in the face of these abuses created the conditions for escalation. If the world tolerated children used as shields in the West Bank yesterday, why would Israel hesitate to bomb schools and hospitals in Gaza today? A child's future stolen. Mohammed was once an ordinary teenager, dreaming of passing his Taji exam, a test that determines the academic future of Palestinian students. After his detention, he struggled to remember, to focus, to sleep. His mother described him waking up screaming at night. His father admitted he feared even sending him to school. This is the true cost of silence. A generation robbed of education, health, and peace of mind. A generation forced to carry the scars of a war they never chose. Breaking the silence. The story of Mohammad Rabia must not be archived as a footnote. It is a reminder that every time the world looks away, another child's life is shattered. Impunity feeds repetition. What was done to Mohammed in Abu Dis is echoed today in Gaza, where children are bombed in their classrooms and hospitals. If international law means anything, it must mean protection for the most vulnerable. The time has come to hold those responsible to account, not with symbolic rulings or empty condemnations, but with real consequences. Because when silence becomes the norm, children become shields, their futures become targets, and their very existence becomes negotiable. And that is the essence of genocide.